Hello, this is Jerry,
And Jacob.
and we are two unrelated brothers. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Hope y'all are doing well. Jacob, what's going on?
Uh, Not too much, man. Actually, got some small news. You could probably hear in my voice, but I am currently sick right now.
Yeah. Are you doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Maybe the full disclosure, I do have COVID, but um, luckily no major symptoms. It's all mild, but unfortunately, and fortunately, my girlfriend who I live with, she's negative, so I've like isolated in a little part of my house, but it's not too bad. I have a bed, I got a bathroom, I got my computer over here, so it's not all that bad. It sucks, but hanging in there, but the show must go on.
Yeah, I just, well, as you know, but I guess the viewers don't. I just had it too. Yeah, it's spreading like crazy.
You did not give it to me, let that be known as well. We
Yeah,
haven't
we
seen each
haven't.
other in a while.
Yeah, no, I was pretty much at home like a little hobbit upstairs. I made like a little system to where like we tied a purse to one of the parts of the stairs, so I could drop the purse down, and Evelyn could put things that I need up there, and I would just pull it up.
That's funny how pulley system.
Yeah, we made a little pulley system. We made it work. Um, but yeah, with me, I mean, because I think we both got Omicron or whatever. What did you
Yeah.
say? Omicron Percy I
Percy I
eight.
8. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good old lure.
yeah. I just got like chest congestion still, and I think I got some bronchitis. As I told you, I was
Mhm.
coughing up a little bit of blood, but the doctor said that they gave me some antibiotics, and luckily I'm not doing that anymore, and I'm pretty okay. Still a little tired, but I'm all
Yeah.
right.
That's good. Yeah, same here. It's mainly sinus pressure. Once in a while coughing, but that's like after I clear it. I'm fine. I'll live. Just rested and playing games. So it's like I'm in high school again.
Simpler times.
Oh yeah. Well, enough of that little thing. We should probably just jump right into it, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, so to follow up last week's episode, we are going to talk about Max Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne.
Okay, cool. Do you got the little box so you can read the snippet in the back?
All right, I'm gonna try. I don't know if it's gonna sound better or worse because of my voice, but here we go.
Okay.
All right, Max Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne is a violent film noir love story. Dark, tragic, and intense. The in-depth story is a thrill ride of shocking twists and revelations. Love hurts. The fierce yet stylish action sequences and slow-motion gunplay that has become synonymous with Max Payne is back and better than ever. New and enhanced moves and options provide breathtaking cinematic gameplay. Max Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne raises the bar at action games all over again. And scene. Oh, I don't know if you heard that.
Yeah.
I'm glad she waited till after I was done talking. That was my dog.
So, do you think that that was maybe a little hyped up, or do you think it kept its promise on the back of the box?
I think I enjoyed this game a lot. I know we had different experiences with this game. I played this. My first exposure to this game was probably when it first came out on the original Xbox.
Hmm.
I like would go with my sister over to her boyfriend's house. They were fully grown by then, so wasn't that weird. They were just chilling and then like distract the little brother with games, basically. So I would play like maybe the first 3 or 4 levels, but I never got to beat it.
Okay.
I just remember liking it a lot. I finally beat it a couple years ago on PC when I first got it. I remember liking it a lot too. What about you?
Um. So yeah, this is pretty much my first time playing it, man. I before we did the Max Payne episode, I had never played the original first two, only the third one.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, it really it did what the last one did better, I would
Mhm.
say, except for the
Okay.
story. I enjoyed the story of the first one a little better.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No, that makes sense. Well, I guess before we get into that, the story, because that is something, it is a bit different. It does continue from it, but it's a different style story than the first one for sure. So this was developed by Remedy Entertainment, same people, pretty much the same
Mhm.
staff. This time published by Rockstar Games, since Take-Two bought the rights to Max Payne in December 2001.
Okay.
And then I forgot how much it was. It was a good amount though. I forgot the exact number. It was in like double-digit millions. I know that. So especially back then, that's a good amount of change. And then in May 2002, Take-Two announced that they were giving Remedy and 3D Realms an $8 million incentive to develop a sequel. So right there, just the incentive alone is like almost 3 times the budget of the original.
Right.
That tells you like they see value in this, and they're ready to spend some big money on it. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the actual budget on it. But unfortunately, even if I did have the actual budget, I probably wouldn't know sales either. The only thing I know about the sales is that, to quote Take-Two, they were continually disappointing.
Continually disappointing.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I also wanted to see too, like, well, maybe competition was bad. Like it had like a rough outing. So this PC version released on October 14th, 2003. And then later that year, November and December, it released on Xbox and PS2 respectively. So I'm just going to list some of the games I think would have taken some of the demographic or like some of the customers out from there. And this is just going to be the holiday season of 2003, which holiday season of any year is going to be rough for any game.
Right.
Unless like you're a huge franchise.
Yeah, Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto or something.
Well, speaking of that too, this is the first Call of Duty game. This is when it came out.
Really?
Yeah, Call of Duty Finest Hour.
Okay, yeah, it's a classic.
Yeah, that's crazy. The GTA double pack on Xbox, so that's Vice City and GTA 3.
Right.
Soul Calibur 2.
Okay, yeah,
it's not like ours market, but that's I know it's definitely a huge game. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, Prince of Persia Sands of Time.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Tony Hawk's Underground.
Classic.
Ratchet and Clank Going Commando.
Yeah, I remember Ratchet and Clank.
Elder Scrolls Morrowind, GOTY Edition.
Ooh, yeah.
SOCOM 2, I remember that game.
Yeah.
Jak 2, that's an old franchise, but it was popular at the time. And then Final Fantasy X2.
Oh, okay.
So it had some decent stuff there, I feel. Like, it's nothing like crazy, but that's a pretty good selection. And that's me not even naming every single one that came out during the time. So
yeah, that's a pretty strong outing, especially the Grand Theft Auto on Xbox. I remember
that double pack. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, I remember one of the features of that was really advertised was the PS2 wasn't as powerful as the Xbox, so they had to fake the wheels going in a circle. And it was just an animation to make them look like they were actually rotating. But on Xbox, one of the features was they actually were rotating. That was something they were talking about.
Well, that's funny you mentioned that too, because I feel like I played this on PC.
Okay.
You played this on PS2, correct?
Correct. Yes, I did.
And a lot like the first one, just based on these games, we can't say for every single one, just based on these games, it does feel like, yeah, maybe the Xbox is more powerful than the PS2.
Oh, most definitely. Have you seen how big the original Xbox was compared to the PS2?
It's basically a computer.
Yeah, it is huge, man. Even compared to like the fat PS2, dude, that Xbox is like almost maybe one and a third times bigger.
And with a controller to match.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how my little hands when I was like a child was able to like function with that thing.
Like that Burger King commercial. Was it Burger King?
I got these tiny hands with the wallpaper. Yeah, I don't know if anyone remembers that. So with that, I mean, what would you just go with the story. Why do you think you like the do you think it's fair to say this is a film noir love story?
Oh, I mean,
a noir love story. Like that's perfectly accurate.
Yeah, it's a film noir love story. I guess because the other one was just a lot heavier, right? It was a lot more darker. I mean, you can't get any more dark than some fucking drug addicts coming into your house and killing your wife and your little baby. You just can't top that.
No, you can't.
But that's not to say, I mean, I really did enjoy the story, and I enjoyed, a lot of the sequences. I had fun playing it. There were some technical issues, I'll say, I guess just because I was playing on PS2 compared to PC or Xbox. There's a lot of like stuttering and frame tearing.
Damn.
So that kind of took away from it. I mean, but they were doing big things. There were big explosions. There was a lot of action-packed scenes.
Yeah.
They were trying to do a lot for the time and the hardware they were given.
Man, that's crazy because like I had zero issues on the PC. I mean, go figure, especially with technology we got now. Yeah, for me it's like smooth. I think I had like one little glitch we'll get into later, but I had it like on the highest settings. Frame rate was fine. It looks all right. It's an old game, so it's not gonna be a masterpiece. But
Right.
yeah. Get on a technical level on PC, 10 out of 10, absolutely zero issues. Well, like 9.9, but
So let me ask you this: did it autosave for you?
it did. But because I'm a PC, I could save anywhere in the level. What about for you?
Okay, so but did it autosave? Like, did it automatically save for you?
I'm pretty sure it did. Yes, like I think in between chapters.
Okay, because for me on PS2, it was not autosaving. I actually,
Why,
I actually lost. Okay, so I didn't die for the first four chapters, and on the fourth chapter, I died, and I lost all of that progress.
dude?
Luckily, there's a cheat to unlock all of the levels, so I just
Hmm.
put that cheat in and started back off. But the fact that I had to do that sucks, especially because the first one had auto saves.
Yeah, that's really weird. I wonder
And
what happened
it's
there.
well, it's weird because so in Max Payne 2, I could save anywhere, but it didn't have auto saves. And in Max Payne 1, you couldn't save anywhere, but it did have auto saves.
It's like they fixed an issue, but then forgot to like carry over that other part.
And maybe I was doing something wrong. Maybe I didn't do something in the options, but I
Right.
looked. I tried to like see if I can enable it, but I didn't see anything, so I don't know.
So you're
Like I
just
said,
constantly saving.
yeah. Well, so then whenever it first happened, because it happened a couple times,
Hmm.
and so I'd have to re-enter that sheet and then go back to the section that I was in, and then so I'd be saving all the time, and then after a while, you're like, oh, okay, I'm not dying, so you stop saving, and then
Yeah.
you die, and then you
Right.
you have to go back two chapters and then re-put the code, and then yeah, so it's just
No, yeah. That, oh God, yeah. I did not know that. That is something.
it might just be a PS2 issue. I don't know, like neither of us played it on Xbox, and I know you played it on PS2, so yeah, it was just that was kind of a mess, but to me it did look kind of good for PS2 era
Yeah.
graphics. It had a nice weapon selection.
What was your
I
favorite
enjoy,
weapon?
um I really enjoyed the Commando, the M4.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was a good one. The AK was fun.
Hmm.
The MP5 I used a lot towards the end because it had that little scope.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, the so in the first game, the Ingram, the machine pistols had like 100 or 200 rounds when you wielded them,
Yeah.
and in the second game it had 60 rounds. So they kind of cut quite a bit off of the magazine, I guess.
Yeah, I
Uh,
guess it was they just I guess is they didn't want the player just spamming and just going wild with it. Like you had to actually aim a bit.
yeah, and I actually really enjoyed the physics, like the ragdoll.
I was just gonna ask you about that because I was as soon as that's one of the things I remember too about this game. I love the physics system. When I saw that, it's like, oh, I bet Jerry loves this.
Yes, yes, yes. I love that old ragdoll kind of style, man. Like
Hmm.
there's a game called Freedom Fighters back in the day. And that one, like there's a cheat, where you could like all the bullets that you could shoot a nail gun, it would stick people to the wall and it had to right. It was a blast. But that was a whole nother game. But yeah, it kind of reminded me of that physics system, I guess.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite things was especially with you had automatic weapons. When you were to shoot someone and they're like one of the last ones, they're kind of if you keep shooting them, they kind of just float in the air until you're out of bullets. Like
Yeah.
they're like kind of float back, and it's ridiculous, but that in a good way. It's fun. It doesn't like go like, oh, this is dumb, like this is a silly game. It's like that's just fun.
Yeah, it was good. So how long did it take you to beat this?
That's probably the biggest criticism of this game, I think. Yeah, it took me about first time playing this game, I'd say it took me about 8 hours. The second go around, and this was me stopping a lot and still trying to explore. It took me 6 hours.
Yeah, it took me about the same. I beat it in about 2.5 days. Yeah, it wasn't very long. I felt like it was maybe a little bit shorter than the first one because the first one wasn't too long to me either.
Yeah, but like I said, it took me like 10 hours at least on that one. So it was
Okay.
almost like half.
Yeah. Well, maybe because it was my first time playing the first one, and I was just getting killed consistently on some parts, so it took
Right.
me a little bit longer. And then this one I kind of breezed through.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. I enjoyed it. It was an enjoyable experience. I liked it better than the first one as far as the overall
Mhm.
experience. I would say.
Okay. So yeah, I was gonna say, how was shooting on this one compared to the first one. I mean, I know it's still PS2, so it's going to be a little tough, but
So it had a lock on, it had a soft lock on everything. So as long as you kind of aimed in the general direction, you were usually hitting the people. There were some times where the shooting was off.
yeah.
Yeah, and then also I noticed that Max Payne's face was no longer constipated and actually resembled the Max Payne from Max Payne 3. Whereas,
Yeah.
Max Payne 2 was just a whole, like, this little smirk, like maybe he's taking a shit.
Yeah, constipation.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually got because of the, like I said, all I know for sure is that this one actually had a decent budget, so they actually were able to get actors for the at least the two main characters, Mona and Max. And yeah, definitely on both of them, much better. This is what I would see them as.
They also changed up the controls a little bit,
Mhm.
which was kind of rough at first because the controls didn't make so much sense in Max Payne 1, but I was already used to them because I'd been playing that, that game. And as soon as I got done playing that one, I jumped over to Max Payne 2.
Right.
And but they made more sense in Max Payne 2, I'd say. And so I also liked that they had a sense of humor in the game. There was a lot of like TV channels and whatnot, and one of the characters in the channels was called Dick Justice.
Yes, that was funny.
Yeah, he talks about what were you saying?
I would say like real quick, yeah, like that I know that's a play on one of the working titles for Max Payne. One of the working titles was Dark Justice.
Okay.
And there's like I can't remember what it was. I know there's a reference to it. There's but there's also like a porno in here. I think it's like just a sign or a poster or a DVD cover or whatever, but it says Max Heat, which is also another working title for Max Payne.
Okay, so I watched a video by a YouTube channel, and they were talking about a Max Payne iceberg where they went through, I guess some of the theories or some of the things in the game, and that Max Heat porno is actually in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, like as a on the cover, like it's like somebody has a DVD cover out or something, but it's in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. I watched some of the video and then I had to like get back to trying to beat the game.
Yeah.
That's cool. What you were gonna say though, like I'm assuming you were gonna say with Dick Justice, you kind of like it's kind of like a parody of Max Payne, how he talks and stuff.
Yeah, and then he said, there was a part he's like, I'm walking around with a constipated face. Like, they were just making fun of it.
I missed that one. That's funny.
Yeah. It was when you're like walking around a crack house and there's like a dude sitting in a couch.
Oh,
and he's watching it, yeah. But yeah, that cracked me up. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, and then it seems, yeah, so it's nice, yeah, they're able to make fun of that. And there were two other kind of recurring shows through there too, Address Unknown and Lords and Ladies, which is also from the first one.
Yeah, that Lords and Ladies was everywhere. It was in the hospital and the police station, all over the place.
And another funny thing too then is it seems like the main actors the likeness used for both the characters in both those little series was Sam Lake again, who's the head writer and the person they used for Max Payne in the first one.
Right.
So it was nice to see that again. Give him a something on screen again.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So this one also had some dream sequences. How did you feel about those this go around?
I mean, definitely not as haunting. That's for sure. I think when I first played them, the first thing I wrote was much easier and less creepy. And
yeah,
I could say that's probably for the best. I think they were just the same or close to the same as in the original. It wouldn't fit the vibe as well. Like it sucked in the first game, but it worked. It made sense. And this one I thought it felt kind of out of place. So even though it's probably I liked the dream sequences a bit more in the first one, I think these in this game worked well for its own atmosphere.
Yeah. This the first one was way creepier. Yes. And then there's also that fourth wall break in the first game's dream sequences. And I felt like there was kind of a soft fourth wall break in this game where he was talking about free will and how it seems to just be an illusion.
Yeah.
So he wasn't blatantly saying it, but it was, to me, it was like a soft fourth wall break.
Yeah, and I think most of that is probably due to the fact that the first one, it did take itself seriously, but it had a lot of humor in there, a lot of cheesy, dark humor and stuff like that. This one took itself a lot more seriously. It was written, I think it was written a lot better too.
I guess I kind of liked because so they brought back the inner circle or whatever,
Yeah,
but in the first one there's this overarching like the government's involved and all this
yeah,
crazy shit, whereas this one was a little bit smaller in the fact that it was just the inner circle
hmm
and some players that we had already seen in the first game.
yeah.
Um, so I mean, do you want to get into the story, or do you want to talk a little bit more about the aspects of the game that you enjoyed or whatnot?
Uh, yeah, I guess we'll just go straight to the story then, because I feel like there's probably gonna be a little more discussion there. So, like, just to kind of give it a quick run through, this takes place apparently 2 years after the first game.
Mhm.
Max is, a detective again, and he's kind of like friends with Vladimir from the first game, who like helped him get weapons and stuff to exact his revenge. He runs into Mona Sachs, who got shot in the head in the first game, but like lived and like escaped.
Right, right.
And then from there on, like the police need Mona because she's like a murder suspect. Max thinks is like his case, the other detective's cases are connected. They keep running into each other. There's say sexual tension, but and then that like kind of releases really quickly. They kind of like go back and forth. Like you can tell they're into each other.
You're talking about him and
And
Mona?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and then at that point it starts to kind of unravel, and you find out like you said how the inner circle is involved, how even someone in the police is involved too, and pretty much tests Max like if he can trust Mona, and not only that, but like is pretty much putting himself out there again as far as like loving someone.
Yeah, and he kind of it almost seems like he's almost at peace in a certain aspect, at least with kind of what happened in the first game. I mean, did you feel that or not really or
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, to go into it, they Max and Mona do like kind of fall for each other, and Mona does the she gets shot and dies in the end. And you think obviously like this is probably the last thing Max needs, and that another woman dies in his arms. He even says that again, like I've been here before. Like the last frame of him, his face is kind of like him, that smirk again, but it's not like a dumb one. It's more like a this is okay kind of deal. And
yeah.
the very last panel is, I can't remember the exact picture, maybe you do, but the very last words you hear him say is, "I had a dream of my wife. She was dead, but it was all right."
Yeah, I remember that, and that kind of like that that was just so. I guess I can kind of understand why people didn't like the third one.
I was gonna say,
Uh,
and now that you've seen that little thing, do you think you can get more on the side of like, oh, people thought this was fine because it's not a happy ending, obviously, but it's in a way it kind of is because he's accepted it.
so I can understand people feeling it, but I would rather see Max Payne on an island drinking with his feet up, kicking it.
With a retired life, essentially.
Yeah, yeah, I would much rather see that than him just being okay with the fact that two women that he's in a fucking slum in New York
hmm
and two women that he loved and his baby were murdered. He's okay with it.
Yeah, like I guess on this, yeah, aesthetics wise, the third one definitely gives you a much more, or I guess a literal sunny ending. This one is definitely more about healing and just the first step of it. I mean, the first step of it, like what's that, like the seven step process is like acceptance. So I'm with you. I can see why people would be okay with just his story ending here, but it doesn't. To me, it doesn't entirely close his story. Like it could still obviously continue on and not like just because like, oh, we need another game. Like I think naturally it can progress because like you said, I mean he's still living a harsh life.
Yeah, like especially when well, I guess we'll get into it
Yeah,
when
that's
we do
more
the
the
third
third
one.
one. This
Yeah,
is kind
yeah.
of like, yeah, like just talking about like the ending specifically, since that's probably the biggest thing about it. And I just really do like that last quote that he says. I think that's it's beautiful and sad all at once, which is Max Payne to a T.
Yeah. So the game kind of starts off in the middle of the actual game, and you kind of start off, in a later portion, and then it's like, and then this was 2 days earlier, right? Like it goes,
Yeah.
okay, like Max Payne wakes up in the hospital, fucked up,
hmm
some stuff happens, and then it's like, let's go back to 2 days when this started.
Right.
Okay. So it seems like there are some gangster types that were chasing him, and you don't really know why. You just know that, I mean, because that's the way it's supposed to be, right? It's supposed to start you off in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And it's like it's like a cleaning company, and you assume you know who they work for. How was the I guess the beginning for you as far as the story goes?
It reminded me a lot of the first one because the first one a little different, but the first one began with like Max having his monologue at the very end of the game, and then it's like flashes back.
Right,
This
right.
one's more like near the end of the game, and then it goes back to, like you said, the beginning. So I thought that was fine. It seems like that's kind of like how they like to write the story, their stories. I'm kind of curious to see how their other games start off too. I mean, I was fine with that. I don't think it would have made much of a difference just going straight from the beginning.
Hmm.
No, I think it would have been fine like that. But I had no issue with it. And to kind of pick up where you left off, you go to this cleaning company, or this warehouse with this cleaning company, you think like, oh, there's janitors, whatever. You kind of already know that something's going to happen with this. Yeah, it turns out these janitor guys they're called the cleaners, but they're just like an association of a hitman association who are doing a bunch of dirty work.
Right.
And this is where he first runs into Mona when like the elevators, like he's by an elevator, it opens, she kills a couple of guys, and he's like, oh, Mona, and he's like, oh, Max, we gotta start a meeting like this, and then she like disappears for a bit.
Yeah, so I thought the cleaning company was cool because it also provided the perfect cover, because after they murdered these people, they literally clean the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually they're assassins, people are off guard, they kill them, and then they clean the scene and leave.
Yeah.
So I thought that was perfect. Because and it also lends like there's a reason why they have cleaning supplies and all their stuff.
Right.
And of course it's unassuming, right? Like nobody, like, oh, it's a
Exactly.
janitor in a warehouse.
Yeah,
Or
no,
an
there's
apartment
nothing weird about
complex.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was cool. And so you go from the hospital and it jumps back, you go to a warehouse, you said, right?
Yeah, the warehouse. He's trying to save one of the hostage, or one of the, looks like an employee that these guys are interrogating. Um, the guy ends up shooting the woman, and again, this leads to another great quote from him, like all things in my life, bad things in my life, it started with the death of a woman. And then with this, he ends up going to Vladimir's like restaurant that's being built because she heard them mention his name. So there they
Right,
talk.
right.
He saves him from like the underboss of the mafia, Vinny. I can't remember the last name, Vinny, and then they have a small talk. And this is what kind of like Vlad says something like kind of ominous, like if you have to do something, you have to make this choice. It's not really a choice, is it? It's just a straight line. Max goes, yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. And then later on, you realize like what that was about.
Right. And so the guy Vinny actually was one of the first one of the first underbosses in the first game that you thought you killed, right?
I'm trying to remember. It does sound familiar, but I can't for the life of me remember. I mean, I recognize the voice from the first one, but I don't know if it's like the same guy,
Yeah, I
or if
think it
it's
was
just like someone who's like related, I don't know.
I think it was one of the first bosses that you kill him in, like there's like a garage and like a big
Hmm.
kind of brick backing, and he has like a maybe like a Ingram, like that machine pistol.
Yeah.
I think that was him.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, which I mean that's pretty crazy, because I mean you fuck him up in the first game if that is him.
Yeah. It sounds a lot like him, don't it? Now I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. And then so if that is him, which I'm pretty sure it is, they also bring back a couple of other characters, like the captain, who the whole
Hmm.
first game was shitting on you and trying to find you and
Yeah.
this and that, and now you work for him, which I thought was kind of funny. Um, I mean, if they brought him back, I thought it would be kind of cool if they would have brought Lupino back, because he's like this demon devil worshiper guy. That would be kind of creepy,
We killed him though. You killed him in the first one.
Yeah, but in the first one, you think you kill Vinny too.
I don't think it actually shows him getting shot though. I think.
I thought we actually have a firefight with him, and it's like him like
As I'm saying, like I don't know if it's like the same last name and someone else. That's kind of where I'm thinking. That might be it.
let me here
You can look it up, right? I'm gonna.
yeah, I'm looking it up now. Yeah, Vinny Gognitti. Yeah, it says Vinny Gognitti is the antagonist in both Max Payne 1 and 2. Yeah, that is him.
Oh shit.
Yeah, Vinny got, yeah, that it shows his dumb face in in the first game, and with the machine pistol.
Oh, okay. Well, fuck.
Yeah, it says he is the right hand man of Jack Lupino. And it said Vinny managed most of Lupino's operations, as Lupino himself is addicted to Valkyr, making him incapable of managing the business. He is later hunted down by Max Payne in order to find Lupino's location. Yeah, so he's the guy that you actually you fuck him up and you find where Lupino is. Yeah, because I looked it up because like you said, I thought he sounded familiar.
Yeah. I totally missed that. I thought that was just a whole different character.
Which that leads to a funny section where you actually meet back up with him, and he's in a baseball mascot costume.
Yeah.
Which that kind of cracked me up because he's just kind of squeaking around, you know.
No, yeah, that was especially with his voice too, like kind of like Joe Pesci-esque. And then seeing that happen too, which is basically that's just an escort level. That was probably my least favorite part of the game, actually.
Yeah, I found him just you had to keep up with him, which he wasn't moving fast, but there's sometimes you're trying to explore the level and trying to find like extra pills or extra weapons or even those secrets, whatever.
Yeah.
And so when you actually go into his apartment complex or whatever, you can actually click his answering machine, and a woman actually is talking about how he's a piece of shit, and because I was like, oh man, this guy sounds okay, he's just a little goofball, he's kind of a kid, but then come to find out he's a woman beater. So I guess
yeah, that was a whole weird thing. And the reason, I should probably explain this too. The reason why he's in this like weird mascot thing is because Vladimir like put him in there, and there's like a bomb in there, and if like he takes the head off the mascot suit, it's gonna blow up.
Yeah.
And so it becomes an escort mission. You make sure he doesn't die and stuff. And for me, the worst part of that was near the end, where like you're supposed to like escape his apartment from the balcony.
Yeah.
Like he got like dropped down to the ground level. There was a glitch where he got stuck like on the double doors.
Okay.
And it spent like the next like 5 minutes trying to like get him out of there. I reloaded it, then try to like get him over there again. Yeah, that part sucked for me.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't deal with that. I just didn't like. I'm not a big fan of escort missions.
Yeah.
Even though I enjoy the Last of Us series.
I was gonna say, isn't the first game just basically an escort mission?
Yeah. I'm telling you, we got to throw it in every episode. The Last of Us has to be in every episode in some way.
It's gonna get to a point now we don't even mention it. Just say it and just move on real quick and be like, oh, there it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So that actually, I guess, if we back up a little bit, so we find where Mona is, and she because the cops end up arresting her, and then you have to break her out, and because those cleaners come into they attack the police station, and that's how she kind of escapes, and you find out where she is, which leads to probably my favorite level in the game, which is the funhouse.
Yeah, I was just this is the one I remember the most as a child for multiple reasons, and I'm sure you know what one of those are. And I like it too because it's like another like in universe kind of world building thing where like it's a funhouse based on one of the shows that is on the TV in the game, Address Unknown.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a nice little touch there. You go there that's her hideout, it's like her base. And the first part of this level is just you like walking through there, like going through there, like through the scares and stuff. You run into Mona like showering, and that's like a little ooh la la thing.
Ooh la la.
Yeah.
Yes, Jeffrey. You do hear Jeffrey? Oh, he just walked in here.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Oh no, go ahead.
I'll say it is like another thing in the cut scene, which is the same style as the first game. It's like some are in-game cutscenes, but mostly it's the comic panels again, which again I appreciate that touch. And one of them is like it's like them like again sexual tension is like through the fucking roof between these two. And then like Mona goes like, oh, what do you even want? And then there like Max Payne does this whole thing like the things I want by Max Payne. And then it goes into the whole like, but more than anything in this moment, I just wanted her, and it's like basically her, like the classic like picking her up, putting her against the wall, and like you see some nice under boob. I remember specifically playing that level a lot to get to that little scene. Because you gotta understand, this is like I was probably 11 or 12. I'm like I'm about to go through changes.
Sounds
And
like
this
you
is
already were, dude.
yeah, it's just like I like this. I'm not entirely sure why, but I really like this. I'm pretty sure, looking back on this, Mona sex was probably part of my sexual awakening. Like, no
That's
lie.
that's fucking great, dude. That's great, man. I'm trying to think about it. Maybe if a video game did, I don't know, man. That's good. That's cool though that made such a big impact in that way that you remember that to this day. But yeah, I remember seeing that. I was like, ooh,
Yeah. So imagine
yeah,
like now you say that. Imagine what you're like when you're like 12 or 13.
yeah. You would just be losing it. But yeah, so that that actually was that was my favorite level. I just like that funhouse aesthetic. It was really cool.
Definitely.
And I think that was like level 4 of the first part because there's 3 parts and then there's like a random amount of chapters in each part.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, hey, don't do that. Oh, God. The cat, man, he's trying to rip up the carpet.
That's what they do, man.
I know, man. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to. I don't know what I'm gonna do with him. All right, he's out there.
Just lock him out.
Yeah, well, the whole upstairs is carpet. I should have put wood up here, but
Yeah.
okay. But I get back to the game.
You're all good.
Yeah. Sorry. So, let me see. I'm looking through my notes. Was there anything that surprised you in the game? Were there any surprises that maybe you weren't expecting?
I guess this time around, probably not, just because I remembered most of the story. It was fresher in my mind. If I had to say, like, try to go back, don't say at the time, like my first playthrough, it was probably Vladimir and Winterson being a thing.
Yeah, that was kind of that was surprising because I knew like I kind of figured something was going on because it showed that she was killed and it's like, oh, you killed her or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, that little message. Well, that whole thing with Vlad, I mean, because I kind of figured something was going on with Vladimir whenever he started talking about that monologue.
Yeah.
But then that message showing that she was like, hey, we're never gonna be able to see each other or whatever. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
There's a whole And did you sit there and listen in the police section when you're in the I guess in the police station? Did you listen to that guy who murdered his wife and the pizza guy? Yeah, so he was sitting there and they were doing an interview trying to figure out what's going on. And apparently, and it was like this, like the police interviewing this guy for like 10, 15 minutes. And I mean, if I would recommend you go back, it's a pretty interesting story.
I'll look it
like,
up. I'll look it
yeah.
up.
The guy was like, I didn't murder my wife. And and the cop's like, so what you're telling me is, he said, maybe they killed themselves. He goes, so what you're telling me is the pizza man and your wife were messing around. They chopped themselves all up, walked over to your bushes and called you over there and then smeared their blood all over you. And he was like, yeah, well, no,
Oh God.
it was crazy. It was a cool little part.
Definitely.
It was like towards the beginning of that police station level. What was who was your favorite boss in the game?
Man, oh God, I'm trying to think. I don't know if there were a lot of boss. I think there was only one boss fight, wasn't there?
I think there were like a couple. They're basically just people who were harder to kill than the rest, like that one head cleaner in the nice apartment complex that he came down there with like 5-6 guys.
Oh shit!
Yeah, he took more bullets than the rest of them.
He kind of did, but I guess I didn't have much of a problem with that, honestly.
Yeah, me neither. But so what we kind of implied so far is that your buddy Vlad is actually part of the bad guys, right?
Yeah. So like after where you left off, like Mona breaks out of prison, then Max finds her, and then they try to figure out like what's going on with these cleaner guys. They end up going to a construction site. They kill a bunch of these guys again. Well, they're trying to find a contact, I think, but the cleaners already got to him. So Mona and Max got to get out. And while they're about to leave, that's when Winterson, Max's detective partner, arrives. He's like, oh, I need to we need to take Mona in. Mona says this chick's going to kill her. She's one of them. And they're arguing. It looks like Winterson's about to shoot Mona, and the panel like it fades into like the next or the comics fade into the next panel, you hear a gunshot, and it's like all the shocked faces, and you kind of like, if you play this the first time through, you probably do wonder like who got shot, since Max goes to the hospital. And it's in, but at this time it was actually Max shooting Winterson, and fatally shoots her, and she's like dying. He tells Mona to run, and as he's turned around, Winterson still got some life in her, shoots Max, and that's what ends up sending him to the hospital.
Right. So, yeah, at this part, I was like, I wasn't really sure if because I felt like something was also fishy was going on with Mona.
Right. It was definitely a hard, like, if you didn't know this whole time through, you gotta wonder like who's telling the truth here.
Yeah, so I was like, maybe she's lying, and Winterson is just trying to do her job.
Right.
But yeah, come to find out, yeah, she is fucking Vlad. So she was kind of like a double agent, I guess.
Kind of like that, and then she just flat out say like, "I'll do it," I'll take her out, and Max, like, you make me happy, you make my son happy, stuff like that.
Yeah. So that was kind of an intense little scene. But you actually go in, and towards the beginning, you save Vlad when Vinny Gogniti's men are trying to kill him.
Right, because this is before like you have any kind of inkling that there's some other shady shit going on.
Yeah. And just shows how shitty Vlad was.
I mean, he was a crime boss, so
yeah, but
it'd be surprising.
Yeah, but even criminals or whatever, they take care of their friends. I mean, I don't know. I'm not in that world, so maybe they don't. Maybe I don't know.
I think they just look out for number one. I think they just, they'll do whatever they can for themselves. They look out for their friends when it benefits them. I think that's the best way to describe some people.
Yeah.
Especially a criminal like that.
Yeah.
This thing like Godfather, where it's like with honor. Like, nah, man, it's Goodfellas. We'll whack you.
Yeah, I guess it's that romanticized, like, there's a story of the Valentine's Day massacre. There was one survivor, and the cops went up to him, and he was like dying. He didn't actually, he was still alive at the time when the cops got there. And the cops asked him, he said, "Who shot you?" And everybody clearly knew it was, Al Capone. And he just looked at the cops and he said, "Nobody." And then he died. Because it's like no snitching.
Yeah.
Kind of that kind of honor, that kind of, I guess, romanticization of, the crime bosses or whatever.
Yeah, well, that's before like they actually started cracking down on them hard. Now it's like, well, shit, I'll sell you out if that means I get a better deal.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and this is when Max actually visits Woden again, who was the guy from the first game who got him off of charges and things like that. Who's now a senator.
Yeah,
and this is where probably the most kind of out of left field thing happens. Where he says like, Vladimir was like a protege of his in the inner circle,
right?
And the cleaners are his men who are trying to kill Gogniti and Woden, so that way, he's basically the head dog of this thing.
Yeah, that was kind of, I was like, oh shit, because I knew like something was fishy going on, but I didn't know to what extent.
Yeah, that's probably the weakest, most underdeveloped part of this whole thing.
Yeah, because it just seemed out of left field, and then the whole time, this restaurant called Vodka is being advertised throughout the game. That Vlad is starting up, which is kind of funny because it's like you're just stereotypical, like, oh, Russian.
Yes, exactly.
He's like vodka, be seen, and then he says something like his little tagline is be seen. It's as clear as
vodka.
Yeah, that cracked me up.
It was very great. You hear this too when you go to his restaurant again after you talk with Woden, and that's when you find out the whole like Winterson thing. I was gonna say, and this is also when the escort mission comes out with Gogniti. But still, like, you end up getting caught by Vladimir Lem, I should say. I said Lem, Vladimir, and he shoots Max. Like, he actually shoots him in the head.
Yeah, and that's where.
And I want to know, in this universe, do people have hard ass heads or weak ass bullets? Because that's two people now who have survived nearly point blank, Max more so, point blank shots to the head, and have been able to come back.
Yeah, because they don't. Because even for Mona Sachs, they talk about. He talks about what did that just graze her head? Like, what exactly happened? And then even for him, it's like, well, did he get grazed or like? Because he got shot and then he went and had a dream,
Mm-hmm.
You
Kind
know,
of like a
so
near death, body out of body experience, I guess.
yeah, so it's just kind of like, yeah, like did the bullet just graze him too? I mean, or I mean, are their luck like, you know, is their luck just like
Astronomical.
supernatural?
Well,
I
they
mean,
say like the bullet in her head, and even Max now says the bullet in my head. So it's like I guess it got in there. Maybe not deep, deep, but it's in there.
it's in yeah, man, yeah, they got like big thick skulls. I guess I don't know, but
God. Yeah, it's crazy. Like I say too, like right before he shoots him, this is what also revealed Vladimir tells Max that Mona is actually working for Woden and that he was supposed to kill um himself, Vladimir, and Max. And so
yeah,
now, but Max has got to think too now, is he just lying to cover himself up or is he actually telling the truth?
yeah, but to me that was kind of confirmed, and I mean even Max said it in the game whenever she kind of knew of a secret entrance or secret way to open the door. He kind
Oh,
of goes,
but
oh
that was like after, this
yeah,
part.
yeah,
And I think that did like confirm it.
yeah,
Um, and then here too, like, yeah, Mona, we said, yeah, they go to Woden's mansion to like, kind of figure this all out. Uh, Mona cold cocks him and does look for a second like she's about to kill him, but like you heard it earlier too, like in a voice mode of Woden, like, hey, I'm like head over heels for this guy. I'm not gonna kill him. And the same thing, like, I can't do it. I can't shoot this guy. And then, but from behind, you see Vlad come out and he's just like shooting Mona in the stomach, which apparently that's the fatal part of the body you need to shoot, not the head.
yeah. Yeah, I guess that's the secret of that universe is
In that
everybody.
universe, go for the stomach.
Yeah, that's how you got to do it. Um, but yeah, so that was kind of like, oh fuck, when that happened, because it did like for split seconds, like fuck, you know, to get this far only to be, you know, to be turned on by, or for the person that you love to turn on you,
Hmm.
and then for her to hesitate, and that hesitation is what gets her killed. Because like if she wouldn't have hesitated, they would have seen Vlad, and
Yeah,
you know, could have killed him or whatever.
yeah,
So that was all kind of sad.
yeah.
Um,
So obviously that leads into the boss fight with Vlad. You kill him obviously, and then you go back to Mona, and she's bleeding out. And her last words are, like, which they do like it does cut back to the first some panels earlier in the game where she goes like, "Oh, I turned out to be such a damsel in distress," and then she dies.
Yeah, but there is a non-canonical ending if you play on the hard-boiled difficulty, right?
Yeah, if you play it on the hardest difficulty, Mona actually ends up living, and then she and Max, presumably, get together.
Yeah, but that's unfortunately non-canonical.
Yeah, no. I mean, if that was the ending, I don't think there could be a third one. At least not in the way they did it. I guess that would have been a co-op game, which is actually not terrible. That's a whole different thing.
Now, so in this game, so in the first game, like you only got to play as Max Payne, and the second one you also got to play as Mona Sachs. Did you like those sections or not really? Because I know there wasn't really a difference gameplay wise. Like she didn't have a special power that Max didn't have or anything.
Yeah, because she still has bullet time. I guess I don't know. I feel like she moved a little quicker. I don't know, or I don't know if that was just me, but she also didn't have as much health. Again, I don't know if that was just in my head or that was like legit. Did you notice like some kind of different, like as far as like speed and health?
No, I just like that her missions seemed to be her using a sniper more. I thought that was kind of
Definitely
cool.
that. Yes, because I don't think I used a sniper once with Max.
Yeah, I mean, I used the MP5 during
Hmm.
that last fight just because you had to shoot the bolts out of that structure or whatever to get it to fall on Vlad.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, as Max, I didn't really use a sniper rifle at all.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think yeah. So with that, I mean, do you think you like the first one more just because that's kind of just like the just kind of story you're more into?
so I like the story, but I think overall Max Payne 2 built up on just about everything else that
Hmm.
Max Payne did. So I have to say I enjoyed Max Payne 2 more, even though there was some because there was even some frame stuttering and whatnot on Max Payne 1 on PS2.
Right.
And Max Payne 2 was a little worse, but I still enjoyed it. I think a little bit more. It was the shooting was more fun and a little bit more dialed in. Well, at least the auto aim was a little bit more dialed in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed myself a little bit more playing Max Payne 2, I would say.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Again, especially since it went from a PS2 emulator to PC fucking night and day. like I said, the most disappointing thing about this game was just how ridiculously short it was, and I feel like they could have, and it's not one of those things like, oh, short, but what else could you have added? And you're not entirely sure. I think they could have fleshed this out a bit more to at least get it to like, again, 8 or 9 hours, you know?
Yeah, I think they could have expanded more on Vladimir and
Definitely that
Vinny
one.
Cogniti.
At least Vlad, because he tends to be the big bad. I'm all for a twist. Don't get me wrong. And maybe we're dumb, but I feel like if you were to play that game again, there's not, besides the whole like ominous monologue in the beginning, there's not. It's not like you get the vibe that okay, something's gonna happen with him, but there's no hints that he was part of the inner circle, that he even knows of Woden, you know.
Yeah, yeah, that is true.
So I feel like it could have like fleshed out more too. And the way they talked about Winterson, if they wanted to make that kind of a bigger reveal, I think what probably would have been better is if like you do a mission, there's like a level where you like work together. Because the way Max Payne talks about her is like, I'm this like, playing by my own rules, renegade cop. She's this, she's like by the numbers kind of cop, the model cop. But you don't really get to see that. It just says this. I feel like if they did like some kind of mission together, a level, that would have like helped that more establish. Like,
Yeah.
like she is good. So that way when it's revealed later on that, she was actually, doing stuff on the side, it's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, that I remember him saying that, and even getting that vibe from her, because you think that she's like, oh, I got to bring you in because it's you're clearly in cahoots with Mona, with this felon, but then come to find out, no, that was just all a ruse, and she had her own personal reasons to do all of this.
Right.
So,
like the thing, I guess the reveal itself is not the problem. It's just more like, establishes more like, oh, you think this character is one thing, and then later on, nope, this is actually what happened. To kind of, so that way too, when it does happen, like when you shoot her instead of her letting taking Mona, you do have more doubts. Like, shit, did Max like really fuck up?
Yeah.
Like it's very, like I said, like, as far as what it is there, it's fine. I got like no huge things against it aside from shortness, the length, and the whole Vlad thing. But I feel like to give it more time and more to give it a decent playtime, I think there are things you could have done, or added, I should say, not done differently, but added, and it still would have worked out pretty well.
So would you give this a better or a worse score than Max Payne 1?
I think I would have given it a better score still, even with all that being said. I guess if the biggest problem is that I wish there was more, then I'd say that's a good problem. I'd say I give this one like a 9 out of 10.
Okay, yeah. I would say maybe an 8, maybe 8.5.
So about the same.
Yeah, and because I really don't. There's no way to really look at this without being kind of tainted by what's out today. But I'm trying to do my best, because I still had a lot of fun playing it. Yeah. So like an 8.5, I'd say.
No, yeah, for sure, and that makes sense considering like, especially too, like technically we had such different experiences. Like I said, besides that one little glitch with Cogniti, 0 issues. Like, it was pretty much perfect, 99 out of 100.
Yeah.
No frame rate issues, no stuttering, no crashes. It was really good.
Yeah, so I had all of that.
And another thing I want to add too, in this game they have I know the first one I mentioned how I really love Max Payne's theme song. And this one, it's still the same thing, but now it's like I want to say it's a cello version, which I really dig as well. And I think I saw somewhere it's actually one of it's like the cello player from the band Apocalyptica that they got to do that.
I don't know. I know.
You don't know
what were you gonna say?
No,
I don't know Apocalyptica.
They've done. I think they've heard a couple of their songs. You probably like them, but they're well known. And then I thought another little neat thing too was in the ending song that plays post credits, not post credits, but in the credits. That was a song called "Late Goodbye" by the band Poets of the Fall, and I bring that up because the lyrics are based on a poem Sam Lake wrote to kind of like, I guess, help describe what this game is about.
What was the band name? You cut out when you were saying it.
The band name was Poets of the Fall.
Okay, Poets of the Fall. So they took inspiration from a poem Sam Lake actually wrote?
Yeah, to kind of like, I guess, describe the plot or like what's the second game supposed to be about. So that was a nice little touch there.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Like I feel like you had a lot more experience with the Max series or Max series, the
I mean, in
the
a
Max
way.
Payne series than I did. Because like I said, my first introduction was Max Payne 3.
Hmm.
Really, I mean, and I feel like playing these games now
Hmm.
or playing the Max Payne 3 is going to give a lot more context to some of the scenes in Max Payne 3. You know.
No, yeah, I get you. It's crazy to think too, especially with these games. My favorite parts of the third one were the flashbacks, especially the one in Hoboken. I want to say back in New Jersey. The
Yeah,
classic look, the leather jacket and stuff. That is, and that's probably a lot of people's, especially older fans' favorite
and the
parts of the
hair.
game. And the hair, yeah. I mean, because I remember when we'll get to that later. Yeah, there were some issues with the reveal. I will say that. Um, and again, I think another reason why people were upset about the third one is it was kind of designed to be the end of the series, at least for Remedy, because they already knew beforehand this was going to be the last Max Payne game they made. They didn't
Okay.
they didn't hate it or nothing. They're just like, we think we've done all we could for this, and that's it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't know. I just Max Payne 3 has I guess a special place in my heart. I love that game. I played it multiple times, multiple playthroughs. Try to get the golden guns and all that. So it's kind of cool. Um, I guess seeing where all that came from. And what
I
the
get you.
inspiration and everything was.
Do you think you would have had a different opinion on it if you played these two games first, or at least the second one first?
I feel like no, because I would have
Hmm.
played them so much younger, and I
Yeah.
maybe would not really understand some of the implications. Because I'm a stupid adult already. So as a kid, I was a real jackass.
Yeah.
So uh, I just feel like I would just be happy I'd be getting more Max Payne and
Gotcha.
not really understanding why people were satisfied with the ending of the second game. Like, okay, he's come to terms with what happened. But I think, which just to get into it a little bit, I think Max Payne 3, the beginning, those parts in Hoboken show that he hadn't came to terms. He hadn't come to terms with what happened in those previous games
Hmm.
because he's just some fucking drunk in a bar.
What's crazy too? This is probably I was kind of surprised looking back on this too. It doesn't really. I know it does imply about the drinking because his boss says multiple times like come to an AA meeting. Um, it doesn't show him drinking or popping pills. I think like once in a panel. Whereas in the third one, it's like obviously like this man is abusing this shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Again, like
And
it's
then
implied, and that's fine. But it's like, kind of
yeah,
crazy just to think
and
how like that jump happened.
yeah, I think it was more of well, I don't know, but they never explain like if like what pain pills is he popping? Is he popping ibuprofen? Is he popping Tylenol? Or is he popping some hardcore opiates? So I was like when I was younger I was like pain. I mean like this is not a big deal. He's just taking Tylenol.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just a combo of like how much and then combined with the booze. That's the issue.
Yeah, well, and then on top of that, it would make more sense for it to be Tylenol instead of some heavy opiates because you find them everywhere.
Right.
They're in walls and in stores. I mean, just hang in med kits. So yeah, so I was like, why is it a big deal? Why is this?
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, so I mean, so far I really enjoyed the series, and I know I'm gonna enjoy the third one as well.
Yeah, I'm looking
And
forward to playing that
so,
again.
but before we play that, we're actually going to watch. Well, I don't know if you want to break the news.
Yeah, so before we get into the third one,
Oh,
we'll probably there's gonna be a couple of episodes we do differently, but we're just gonna say which the next one
yeah.
is gonna be in that right now. This is gonna be kind of a big deal because this is gonna be our very first one on this category. We're gonna watch the Max Payne movie. And so obviously that's a big deal. One, we haven't really dedicated an episode to a singular movie. We've only talked about like our favorite horror movies, so that's exciting. But from what I've heard, this movie is not good, and that's being nice.
Yeah, I remember my I used to be at the movies a lot because
Hmm.
I would be I was able to get to watch them for free, and I remember seeing that Max Payne was out, and Yeah, I actually walked out in the middle of it. I was like, this is bad.
That's exactly what I remember. And then combine that with like what I see in the ratings, not only critically, but just, the general audience, you go like, ooh, this is bad. Which is disappointing because obviously I'm not gonna go too much into it because obviously I want to save this. But the only thing I'll leave it at this. How do you fuck up something like that? Like it's right there.
At least Mina Kunis is in it, so that's cool.
I don't. I'll save it. Save it.
Okay, okay.
I'm okay though. I will say I'll leave this for sure. I'll leave it at. I'm okay with Mark Wahlberg as Max Payne. I don't think that's a bad casting choice. I think that
Okay.
could have worked. Again, in my
Yeah,
mind, maybe when I see it, I'll go, "This is horrible." But as of right now, I think that could work. That can work.
yeah, I can see that. Um,
So I am looking forward to that, and also not. Are you looking forward to actually finishing it?
I actually plan on watching it tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to watch
Uh,
it tonight too.
so we'll see. I don't know. Um, but yeah, man, that's really all I have for Max Payne 2. What about you?
Yeah, for sure. No, I liked it a lot. I think it, like kind of what you said, it took everything that worked well for the first one, and they either kept it or improved upon it, and then try to add some different things. No, yeah, I think it's a really good sequel. Like I said, just wish there's a few more hours. That's my biggest knock against it.
Yeah, for sure. Um, well, with that being said, thank you everybody for listening. Um, we appreciate. I mean, we're like, what is this, episode 15? I believe.
Wow, look at that. It is.
I know we're almost at 20, dude. We're almost at 20. It's crazy.
Ooh, before we go into this
Okay.
too, where can you find us, Jerry?
Oh, yes. So we now have an Instagram. We're on the gram now, as they say.
Mm.
Uh, God, I just sounded so old when I
You
said
sound
that.
like a boomer.
Yeah. As the kids say. We're on Instagram under Two Unrelated Brothers. We've been posting some pictures about, like for instance, I put that we were recording today. We put pictures of some of the collectibles we have. Just some cool little things if you want a little insight into us and what we do when we're not
Mhm.
podcasting a little bit. We don't get into really anything too personal, but just into some of the collectibles and whatnot. And when our Spotify link is also on there, and then you can also find us on YouTube at J&J Productions. I put that in the show notes as well on Spotify. We have 9 episodes up so far over there, which are the 9 that are already on here. I plan on putting all of our episodes on YouTube as well. Just depending on where y'all like to listen.
Yeah.
There's no video. It's just, our logo. So you're not really getting a different experience. Maybe later we might get into video recording, but probably not till way later down the road, I would think.
Yeah, until we feel like, yeah, that's like I guess like a worthy investment, and also too, like at that point, like, Jerry's really doing all the lifting when it comes to editing, and then you add video to that. That is, that's a whole different ball game. So
Yeah, so that's why our some of our episodes maybe sound a little bit, and so I redid our first episode. So if y'all go back, I know our first episode was the worst episode so far. So if y'all go back and listen to it, I actually edited it a little bit, and I'm just this is just I just watched a YouTube video on how to do it, and so I'm not perfect, I'm not a professional at this or anything, but I noticed my mic sounded like shit and Jacob's mic sounded pretty good, so I just did some editing. Because we recently, I think maybe episode 4, bought these toner mics that we have now, which are phenomenal so far. Maybe later down the road we'll invest a little bit more of our personal funds into getting a more professional setup, but I think we sound pretty good for the most part. There are some issues, but I try to edit those out. But yeah, so I redid the first episode, so hopefully y'all can tell the difference, and if y'all want to give that another listen to see if maybe it sounds better or not, Yeah, so Instagram and YouTube, all that's to go to say you can find us on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify.
no, it's all good, and we probably at this point it seems like for interactions, maybe Instagram will be a little better. But yeah, like if you have any ideas or requests of like what you would like us to cover, we're all down for that. We're pretty open about things. If there's an interest in it, we'll definitely look at it.
Oh yeah, and we also have a email too. So if you want to, you can give us a DM on Instagram, which I am told stands for direct message.
Jesus Christ, Jerry, you're a social media manager.
I know.
Oh God.
That's why we're doing so great. Which we just started it 6 days ago, so I think we're doing pretty well, I think. But on a serious note, we also have a email address. It's 2unrelatedbrothers, all lowercase, with no exclamation point. So 2unrelatedbrothers@gmail.com. So you can also email us questions or direct message us on Instagram. Or leave some comments on our YouTube channel, which is J&J Productions. And then all the titles have 2 Unrelated Brothers podcast in the title name. But there's just so much clutter on YouTube that you might not be able to find it. So that's why I post a channel link on the Spotify show notes as well. So yeah, we appreciate all y'all listening. Thank you.
And, yeah, for sure. It's wild that just really anyone gives us a listen besides like ourselves, obviously, and a couple of people that we tell about it.
Well, I think what it is you have a buttery smooth voice, and and just my monotone, it's just soothing, just a soothing monotone kind of sound to it. That's why I think really draws the people to us.
Oh yeah, definitely. We're just just a couple of suave men. You just can't help but be like just comforted by our silky monotone baritone voices.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah. And that COVID adds a little spice to the back end of your voice too. So it's
I'm sure it does. I hate it though, because I feel like I've been kind of like meh today. I feel like I've been like, ugh.
No, man, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Hopefully I'm feeling better the next one we record though.
Yeah, man. I hope you feel better.
No, I'm glad I got better too. It was really bad for a bit. Like my voice was just like I sounded like a different person. It was scary.
No, I'm pretty sure it was still buttery smooth.
Thank you.
But yeah. With that being said, thank you everybody for listening. We appreciate y'all's continued patronage and just giving us one of your most valuable assets, which is time. And everybody be safe. That coronavirus is it's going left and right to everybody, it seems.
Oh yeah, I can attest to that.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, everybody just be safe, and I love you, brother.
Yeah, just like Jerry said, thank you for your time. That's again, it blows my mind that anyone would give us any kind of time, even if it's just like a couple minutes. We really do appreciate that, and honestly, I find that crazy, and I am humbled by that. But also, yeah, just I love you too, brother. Take care and be good, y'all. See ya.